Hey everyone, Tom here. Today I want to take you with me right into the heart of the city center. Imagine this. I just stepped out of a busy metro station and instantly everything feels alive. There are people everywhere, tourists with cameras, locals walking quickly to work, street musicians playing in the background. The air is full of sounds, movement, and energy. The city center is not just a place, it's the core of urban life. This is where everything happens: shops, offices, restaurants, historical buildings, all packed into one vibrant area. As I walk forward, I notice how different things mix together: old architecture standing next to modern glass buildings. It's like the past and the present are having a conversation. Now, if you're learning English, this is a perfect setting to build your vocabulary. For example, you might hear phrases like main square, shopping district, pedestrian street, or public transport hub. These are all typical elements of a city center. As I move along the street, I pass a cafe. People are sitting outside, drinking coffee, talking, relaxing. This tells me something important. The city center is not only about rushing and business, but also about social life. It's where people meet, spend time, and enjoy the atmosphere. Let me point out something else. Navigation here can be tricky. Streets are often crowded and sometimes confusing. That's why knowing phrases like turn left, go straight, around the corner, or next to is extremely useful. You might need them at any moment. So today, I'll guide you through this environment, step by step, not just as a visitor, but as someone who understands how the city works. By the end of this podcast, you'll feel more confident talking about city life, giving directions, and describing places. Let's keep walking. All right, I'm still walking through the city center, and now things are getting even more interesting. The streets here are narrow in some places, wide in others, and every corner feels different. I pass a row of shops, clothing stores, bookshops, electronics, and small local businesses squeezed between big international brands. It's a mix that shows how diverse city life really is. One thing you notice quickly is movement. Nothing stays still here. Delivery bikes rush past, people cross the street without stopping, and buses constantly arrive and leave. It feels like the whole area is in motion all the time. If you stop for too long, you become part of the background instead of the flow. I step into a small street market. Vendors are calling out prices, offering fresh fruit, snacks, and handmade goods. The smell of food mixes with the sound of conversations. It's loud, a bit chaotic, but also very real. This is where you see the human side of the city, not just buildings, but everyday life happening in front of you. Let's talk language for a moment. In a place like this, you'd often hear phrases like, "How much is this? Do you take card? Is this on sale?" Or, "Can I try it on?" These are simple but essential expressions for shopping in English. You don't need complex grammar, just clear communication. As I move forward, I notice street signs and advertisements everywhere. Bright screens flash promotions, while old-style signs hang above small cafes. It's a constant competition for attention. The city center is basically one big conversation between businesses trying to attract people. Something else stands out: noise. Cars honking, people talking, music from stores blending together. At first, it feels overwhelming, but after a while, your brain adjusts. You start to ignore the chaos and focus only on what matters to you. And that's the key idea here. The city center is not organized like a quiet suburb. It's layered, fast, and sometimes messy, but that's exactly what makes it alive. Now I'm moving deeper into the city center, and the first thing that hits me is how important transport is here. Everything depends on it. Without buses, trams, taxis, and metro lines, this place would completely stop working. I walk toward a big intersection and I see traffic lights changing every few seconds. Cars are lined up, cyclists are squeezing through small gaps, and pedestrians are waiting for the right moment to cross. It's like a constant negotiation between different types of movement. Public transport stops are everywhere. A tram arrives exactly on time, doors open, people quickly step in and out, and within seconds it's gone again. There's no time wasted. The system is built for speed and efficiency. You don't wait for the city expects you to keep up. If you're new here, simple phrases become very useful. You'd ask things like, which bus goes to the city center? Where is the nearest station? How long does it take? Or is this the right platform? These are everyday survival questions in an urban environment. I also notice how digital everything has become. People are not checking paper maps anymore. Everyone is looking at their phones, using apps for navigation, tickets, and schedules. The city is physical, but your control over it is mostly digital now. As I cross a bridge, I stop for a moment and look around. From here, you can see different layers of the city: old streets, modern buildings, crowded roads, and quiet side alleys. Everything connects through movement. Nothing exists in isolation. And honestly, getting around here isn't about knowing every street. It's about understanding patterns, where people flow, how transport connects areas, and when the rush hours happen. Once you understand that, the city starts feeling less confusing and more predictable. So yeah, transport isn't just a system here. It's the backbone of the entire city center. I'm stopping for a while now, and this is where the city center shows a completely different side. It's not just about movement and noise anymore. It's also about food, rest, and people actually enjoying themselves. I walk past restaurants of every kind: fast food chains, small family owned places, sushi bars, bakeries with fresh bread coming out every few minutes. Each place has its own smell, its own rhythm. Some are busy and loud, others are quiet and calm, almost hidden from the main streets. I decide to sit down in a small cafe. Nothing fancy, just a table near the window. From here, I can watch people passing by. That's one of the best things about the city center. You can just sit still, and the world keeps moving like a film in front of you. Around me, people are talking, laughing, working on laptops, or just scrolling on their phones. Some are meeting friends, others are alone, but not really alone. The city gives a strange feeling of company even when you don't talk to anyone. If you try to speak English in places like this, you'll need very practical phrases. Things like, can I have a coffee? What do you recommend? Is this table free? Or can I get the bill, please? Simple, direct, and useful in real situations. Food culture in the city center is also a mix of everything. You can have traditional local dishes in one street and international cuisine just a few steps away. It shows how global cities have become, different cultures living side by side, especially in food. What I notice most, though, is that cafes are not just about eating or drinking. They're meeting points. People come here to talk about work, study, relationships, or just life in general. Some stay for hours with just one drink. Time feels different here, slower, even though the city outside is fast. And maybe that's the contrast I keep seeing. Outside is movement, inside is pause. The city center is built on both. Now I've left the cafe and I'm walking toward a more open area of the city center. The atmosphere changes again. The buildings feel more formal here, and the streets open up into squares and public spaces where people gather without a clear reason, just because the place invites it. I see a large square with a fountain in the middle. People are sitting on benches, some are taking photos, others are just watching everything around them. Street performers are nearby. One is playing guitar, another is doing small tricks to attract attention. Nothing feels forced, but everything feels alive. This part of the city often carries history. Older buildings stand quietly among modern ones, reminding you that the city didn't start yesterday. Some walls have details carved into them. Old statues stand in corners, and plaques explain events that happened decades or even centuries ago. When I look around, I realize something simple. The city center is not just for living today. It's also a record of what happened before. Every street has layers of time built into it. You just need to slow down enough to notice. Language here becomes a bit different too. You might hear words like landmark, monument, heritage, exhibition, or tourist attraction. These are common when talking about culture and history in English. People use them when describing places that matter beyond everyday life. I walk past a small museum. Nothing huge, but important for the area. Tourists are going in and out, reading signs, taking pictures. Inside, there's stories about how the city developed, from old trade routes to modern urban life. It connects everything I've been seeing so far. Public spaces like this square are important because they give the city balance. Without them, everything would feel too fast and too tight. Here, people can stop, breathe, and simply exist without rushing anywhere. And that's the interesting thing. The city center isn't only about function. It's also about meaning, history, culture, identity. It tells you who people were and who they are now. I'm wrapping up my walk now, and I'm still in the city center, but the experience starts to feel different when you look at it as a whole. At the beginning, everything felt loud, chaotic, and almost overwhelming. Now it feels more structured, like I can actually read the city instead of just moving through it. What stands out most is contrast. Fast streets next to quiet cafes. Modern glass buildings next to old stone architecture. Tourists taking photos while locals rush to work. Everything exists at the same time, without needing to match or slow down for each other. If there's one thing I've learned from walking here, it's that the city center is not one idea. It's a system of many small worlds overlapping. Transport, food, work, history, entertainment, all of them connected but not identical. From a language perspective, this place is basically a live classroom. You hear real English in real situations, asking for directions, ordering food, buying tickets, or just chatting. Nothing is artificial. Everything is practical and immediate. And maybe that's the key point. You don't really study the city center, you experience it. You observe, adapt, and slowly understand how it works. At first, it feels confusing, but over time, it becomes familiar, almost predictable. Now I'm standing near the edge of the center, where the density starts to decrease and the streets become calmer. It feels like leaving one world and entering another. But the city doesn't stop here, it just changes speed. So yeah, That's the city center from my perspective. Not perfect, not quiet, not simple, but real.
Write a comment. 3 best comments get 20 English lessons completely free.